What if everything you know about space is a lie? Now let that thought linger for a moment. It's a question that's as unsettling as it is intriguing. An idea that pokes and prods at the very foundation of our understanding of the universe. Are we truly alone in this vast expanse, or is there more to the story? Consider this. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, better known as NASA, has been our primary window to the cosmos for more than 7 decades. They've given us stunning images of distant galaxies, awe-inspiring footage of our own blue planet, and narratives of brave astronauts venturing where no human has gone before. But what if that window isn't as transparent as we've been led to believe? What if, behind those captivating images and stories, lies a grand conspiracy of cosmic proportions? Now the idea might seem far-fetched, even ludicrous to some. After all, why would an organization dedicated to the exploration and study of space fabricate the very thing they're meant to unravel? But as the saying goes, truth can be stranger than fiction. And in the realm of conspiracies, nothing is too strange or too far-fetched. Countless theories float around in the ether of the internet, each more compelling than the last. Some claim that the moon landing was staged, a mere spectacle to assert dominance in the space race. Others argue that NASA is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life, perhaps even advanced civilizations far beyond our own. So what's the truth? Are these theories just the wild imaginations of conspiracy enthusiasts, or is there a kernel of truth hidden within their complex web of assumptions and deductions? The question is unsettling, but the pursuit of truth often is. To separate fact from fiction, we must question, probe, and scrutinize. We must challenge our preconceived notions and venture into the unknown, no matter how uncomfortable it might make us feel. So, let's delve deep into one of the most compelling NASA conspiracy theories. Because in our quest for truth, no stone should be left unturned. Imagine for a moment that the moon landing, one of the most significant events in human history, was a hoax. That's right, a grand illusion, a spectacle designed to fool the world. This idea isn't new, it's been a favorite of conspiracy theorists for decades. But what if there's more to it than just wild speculation? Let's delve into this intriguing theory. Critics of the moon landing point to a number of supposed inconsistencies that they believe prove it was all an elaborate charade. First, there's the issue of the flag. In the footage of the Apollo landing, the American flag seems to flutter in the wind. But wait a second, there's no air in space. So how could a flag flutter? Then there's the conspicuous absence of stars in the moon landing photos. Astronauts stood on the surface of the moon gazing out into the vast universe, yet not a single star twinkled in the background of their photos. Strange, don't you think? And let's not forget the infamous C rock. A rock, plainly visible in one of the moon landing photos, has what appears to be the letter C imprinted on it. Critics argue that this is a prop marker, left behind accidentally by the set designers. These anomalies have been the fodder of conspiracy theorists for years. They stoke the fires of doubt, making us question the very fabric of our perceived reality. But is there any validity to these claims? Could these inconsistencies truly be evidence of a grand deception? Well, skeptics would argue that there are logical explanations for each of these anomalies. They would say that the fluttering flag can be attributed to the motion of the astronauts manipulating it, that the absence of stars is due to the camera's exposure settings, and that the C on the rock is just a hair or fiber that got caught in the photo development process. But, could there be truth in these claims? Could the moon landing have been a grand charade? Let's continue our exploration and see where this rabbit hole of curiosity leads us. Let's examine the evidence that has led some to believe the moon landing was a hoax. Firstly, let's delve into the photographic anomalies that have raised eyebrows. Critics have pointed to the peculiar shadows and lighting in the moon landing photographs as signs of forgery. In some photos, the shadows of objects seem to fall in different directions, as if lit by multiple light sources, which would be impossible on the moon where the only light source is the sun. Others have noticed the absence of stars in the lunar sky. Shouldn't we see a star-studded night sky in these photos, clear of any atmospheric disturbance? Next, let's consider the discrepancies in the astronauts' accounts. Some skeptics have noted inconsistencies in the astronauts' testimonies about their experiences. For example, Buzz Aldrin's description of the lunar surface as magnificent desolation seems at odds with Neil Armstrong's more neutral, fine and powdery description. Furthermore, some astronauts claim to have seen stars from the lunar surface, while others say they saw none. Could these discrepancies be signs of fabrication or simply the product of individual perception? Now, onto the technological limitations of the time. Critics argue that the late 60s technology simply wasn't advanced enough to achieve such a monumental feat as landing a man on the moon. They point to the fact that even today, over half a century later, we've yet to return to the moon. If we could do it with the comparatively primitive technology of the 60s, why haven't we done it again with our modern advancements? To bolster these arguments, skeptics have introduced a variety of experts who question the authenticity of the moon landing. These range from physicists who argue that radiation from the Van Allen belts would have been lethal to astronauts, to film experts who claim the moon landing footage shows signs of being filmed in a studio environment. However, it's worth noting that these experts represent a minority view. The scientific consensus supports the authenticity of the moon landing. Critics of the moon landing hoax theory argue that the anomalies in the photos can be explained by the unique conditions on the moon, such as its lack of atmosphere and different light scattering properties. They also point out that the astronauts' accounts are largely consistent, with minor discrepancies likely due to individual perception and memory. As for the technological capabilities of the time, they point to the Apollo mission's extensive documentation and the thousands of people involved in the project as evidence of its feasibility. Is this evidence compelling enough to cast doubt on the moon landing, or is there more to the story? As we continue our exploration, keep in mind that the truth often lies somewhere in the middle. It's crucial to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also an open mind. After all, in the world of conspiracy theories, nothing is as straightforward as it seems. NASA, of course, denies these claims. But what are their counter-arguments? In response to the swirling conspiracy theories, NASA has consistently maintained its stand, citing various compelling pieces of evidence. For starters, let's consider the sheer number of people involved in the moon landing mission. It's estimated that over 400,000 individuals contributed to the Apollo program in some capacity. Now, maintaining a conspiracy of this magnitude over more than half a century would be a monumental if not impossible task. And yet, not a single whistleblower has emerged with credible evidence to debunk the moon landing. Then there's the matter of the moon rocks. When the Apollo astronauts returned, they didn't come back empty-handed. They brought with them a trove of lunar samples, 842 pounds of them to be exact. These moon rocks have been studied and scrutinized by scientists worldwide, and their findings support the fact that these rocks indeed originated from the moon. The unique composition of these samples, distinct from any terrestrial material, is a robust testament to the moon landing's authenticity. Furthermore, NASA points to other scientific evidence that substantiates the moon landing. For instance, retroreflectors, devices left on the lunar surface by the Apollo missions, are still used today to measure the distance between the Earth and the moon. By shooting a laser beam at these devices and measuring the time it takes for the beam to return, we can calculate this distance with remarkable precision. This would not be possible if the retroreflectors were not physically there on the moon. NASA's arguments seem solid, but the conspiracy theorists are not convinced. So, where does this leave us? Well, as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the universe and continue our quest for truth, it's crucial to remain open-minded yet discerning about the information we consume. After all, the universe is a vast and wondrous place, and there's so much more to discover and understand. This isn't just about the moon landing, it's about trust, transparency, and the pursuit of truth. When we delve into the world of conspiracy theories, it's not simply a matter of questioning whether an event occurred as we have been told. It's about probing the broader implications of such theories. It's about understanding what it means when the public's trust in government institutions is shaken. Are we, the people, not deserving of honesty from those in power? Is it not our right to know the truth about the world we inhabit, the universe we are a part of? When we talk about NASA and the numerous conspiracy theories surrounding it, we're not just talking about the moon landing. There are other stories, other mysteries that have sparked intrigue and ignited countless debates. There's the theory about the face on Mars, an alleged alien structure captured by the Viking 1 spacecraft in 1976, or the theory that we've already made contact with extraterrestrial beings. But this information is being withheld from us. Each of these theories, whether you believe them or not, points to a deeper, more pervasive issue. They speak to a yearning for transparency from our institutions, a demand for the truth that is not diluted or distorted. And let's not forget about the quest for truth. The pursuit of truth is a fundamental human instinct. We are naturally curious, explorative beings. We want to understand the world around us, the cosmos beyond our reach. We want to know if we are alone in the universe or if there are other life forms out there. But what happens when the quest for truth is obstructed? What happens when the institutions that are supposed to guide us in this quest are accused of deceit? It creates a chasm, a divide between the people and the institutions. It fuels skepticism and breeds mistrust. And that's why these conspiracy theories are significant. It's not about proving or disproving them, it's about what they represent. It's about the need for transparency, the demand for truth, and the inherent human desire to understand the world and the universe around us. So, when we question the moon landing or any other NASA-related event, we're not just questioning the event itself, we're challenging the narrative we've been fed. We're demanding transparency from our institutions, and most importantly, we're continuing our relentless pursuit of truth. The moon landing conspiracy theory is just one piece of a larger puzzle. What else might be hidden from us? So, what's the verdict? Is NASA hiding the truth, or are these conspiracy theories baseless? Let's take a step back and reflect on everything we've discussed in this video. We've dived into a world of secrets and suspicions, examining the unsettling question of whether NASA could be hiding something from us. We've also probed the possibility of a hoax, a grand deception that could potentially shake the foundations of our understanding of human achievement. We've unpacked the evidence or lack thereof on both sides of the argument. We've dissected the moon landing conspiracy theory, the anomalies in the photographs, the irregularities in the lunar soil samples, and the odd behavior of the astronauts upon their return to Earth. We've questioned whether these anomalies could be the result of a covert operation, or simply the product of our human tendency to see patterns where there are none. We've heard from NASA, an organization that has consistently denied any allegations of deceit. Their responses, while sometimes curt, have always pointed to the wealth of scientific evidence supporting the authenticity of their missions. But of course, skeptics argue that NASA would say that, wouldn't they? We've also looked at the bigger picture, the implications of such a conspiracy if it were true. It's not just about the moon landing, but about our trust in institutions, our belief in scientific progress, and our understanding of humanity's place in the universe. We've explored and debated, but the question remains, is NASA hiding the truth, or are these conspiracy theories baseless? The answer, as with many things, may not be as clear-cut as we'd like. There are valid points on both sides, and while the weight of scientific evidence leans heavily towards the authenticity of NASA's achievements, doubts persist. Conspiracy theories by their very nature are resistant to disproof. They thrive on uncertainty, on the gaps in our knowledge, and on our innate desire to believe in something more. I encourage each of you to delve into this fascinating topic further. Do your own research, scrutinize the evidence, and form your own opinions. Be critical, but also be open-minded. Remember, in the pursuit of truth, no question is too absurd to ask, no possibility too outlandish to consider. In the end, the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. But one thing is certain, the universe is full of mysteries, and we've only just begun to explore them.